The United Nations Commission for Human Rights has sent a report on the Saudi-led blockade of Qatar to the head of Qatar's National Human Rights Commission. Al bin Shmaik al-Mari organized a press conference on Monday to explain the report in detail. He says the new UN investigation shows the 7-month blockade is arbitrary and negatively impacting people in the region. Let's take a closer look. Al-Mari says the UN report is proof that the sanctions against Qatar are illegal and hurt human rights. He says the study shows the measures taken against Qatar are unilateral, abusive, and negatively impacting citizens and expats in Qatar. And that these procedures undertaken by blockading countries are not mere diplomatic severing of relations, but they amount to economic warfare. Well, for more, I'm joined now in the studio by TRT World's editor-at-large, Ahmed Al-Burai. Thanks for coming in, Ahmed.
Thank you.
So how much does this actually boost Qatari efforts to have this blockade ended?
Well, Andrea, on the 5th of June, when this blockade started, the 3 main countries plus Egypt started the sanction and the siege on Qatar. Immediately, the Qataris started a kind of a raising awareness campaign to refute all the groundless allegations and claims of the besieging countries, saying that they're all groundless, they're baseless. And immediately, the foreign minister started a shuttle diplomacy visiting the United States, France, Germany, and other countries in order to boost the Qataris' narrative in the whole crisis. And now this comes at the time they want to crystallize and build on the legal domain, because Qatar is suffering a lot because of this illegal siege, and now it's a time for them to tell the country, the international community, that the Saudis and the Emiratis plus the Bahrainis are not legally imposing this siege on Qatar. And that's one of the neutral bodies of the international community stating this. This is a good chance for the other countries, I mean the sieging countries, to take a step back and to back down on the ongoing siege, because it's not only hurting the Qataris but their own countries as well.
Okay, so Ahmed, as you say, Qatar is suffering. That is exactly what Saudi wanted. That was the whole point of this blockade. So it does lend weight to what Qatar has been saying, and it, in a sense, proves that there are human rights now suffering as a result of this. But will it change Saudi policy in the end? That's really all that matters.
The report says or manifests that the Saudis are more to aggravate the human crisis rather than to alleviate it. It is very clear that they're going to go ahead. A couple of weeks ago, there was the football leak, and you know what happened in terms of the media boycotting Qatar. Even it was supposed to happen inside Qatar, but they refused, and Qatar abandoned its right and moved it to Kuwait. The summit that happened of the GCC, it was only represented by the Emir of Qatar, while the other countries didn't send any senior officials to the meeting. So the mediator, the Kuwait, is being also disregarded, humiliated in many of the occasions. And he's so optimistic, he said yesterday, the Emir of Qatar, but it seems the Saudis and the Emiratis are not going to back down. They're going to go ahead as far as Mohammed bin Salman, the MBS in Saudi Arabia, the Crown Prince, and Mohammed bin Zayed are still in power. What the people count on, there might be a change in the governing body in the Saudi Arabia or in the United Arab Emirates, but in the short term, this stalemate is not going to be resolved anytime soon.
In the short term, and then in the long, I mean, can this go on indefinitely?
You know, this kind of tribal communities, mainly Saudi Arabia and the Gulf in general, it depends on the tribe, the sheikh of the tribe, the sheikh of the country, the emir, the king. These kind of family relations, they're going to change. The dynamics are different from other kind of communities. It depends on the people, the nations who cannot leave, because, you know, like 500,000 Qatari, they have family and relative bonds with the Saudis, with the Emiratis. This is not going to last. It's not only economy, it's also the society, the mechanisms of the society. They cannot allow this to go for a long time. But on the political side, it seems that these two main countries, countries, Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, are adamantly insisting that Qatar is isolated. This may amount to managing or running a coup against the Emir of Qatar, or even militarily intervening. And that was a scenario, but it was foiled by the shuttle diplomacy I told you about of the Foreign Minister of Qatar.
Okay, Ahmed, we'll leave it there. Thanks so much for that.